Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm excited to do this solo episode with you today and talk to you all about the new health products that are going to be hitting the shelves at your grocery stores over the next year. And I get that information by attending Expo West, the Natural Products Expo. If you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, if you check out YouTube Shorts, then you've seen a ton of people talking about Expo West or the Natural Products Expo. So let me give you a little bit of background, my experience attending, why I attend, and the numbers, what really goes into the largest food expo in the US. So Natural Products Expo, or known as Expo West, is at the Anaheim Convention Center every March. And I've been attending since 2016. So I've seen this expo really grown. I've worked booths for different brands before. And it's where brands go. And we're talking your favorite peanut butter brands, your favorite granola, cereals, health food bars, chocolate bars, any product that you may see at Whole Foods, Erewhon, a more health supportive grocery store, that brand is probably going to be at Expo West because they are there to find and connect with buyers. So it's a lot easier when you can meet with the brand and buyer representative from Whole Foods in person, when they can look at your whole product line, taste test your product, really sit down, look at the numbers, do some negotiations. You're more likely to get your product into that store instead of going online, filling out the paperwork, and submitting an email. So that's what this show is really all about, is introducing new products that brands are going to be coming out with in the year ahead and sharing that with buyers and then negotiating getting on the shelves at store. And in this day and age, it's also negotiating getting on websites, places like Thrive Market, because there's so many ways that people shop nowadays. But that's what Expo West is all about. Over the years, it's also turned into a way for brands to introduce new products to consumers, because a lot of consumers now go to the show. A lot of chefs go to the show, nutritionists, influencers. So two things are happening there. You're getting to introduce your product to over 60,000 people a day that are attending. And you're also getting your product on the shelves of places where more people will see it, more people will buy it, more people will enjoy it. So that is Expo West. It takes place, it starts technically on a Tuesday, ends on a Sunday, but the show's really open to the registered public Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So now that you kind of have a little lay of the land, let me share with you some numbers that they are predicting for the show in 2023, according to how brands have registered. Now, this is often called, Expo West is often referred to as the Super Bowl of health food, or the Coachella of health food products. So you might have heard those terms as well. I definitely would consider it the Super Bowl of the CPG industry. So if you are a food product, especially a health-focused food product, this is your place. They're expecting 60,000 visitors overall over the main 4 days of the show. And when you register your booth, you have to register, additional details about your product. So this helps us better understand what to expect when we go to the show. We can kind of look at the numbers of what maybe the trends are going to be. So there were 785 booths registered as vegan. That's 25% total booths are offering a vegan product this year. Plant-based, there were only 333 booths. That's around 10.5% of the show. Organic is surprisingly low. Only 268 booths registered as organic. That's only about 8.5% of the show. Gluten-free also is pretty low this year. In the past, since I've attended for so many years, I've really seen the trends go up and down, not just within the food industry, but also within the consumer industry. And in the past Expo West, there has been tons of gluten-free products. This year, there's only 237 booths registered as gluten-free, which only makes up 7.5% of the booths. Alternative proteins. It says that a little over 100 booths registered as alternative protein. It definitely seemed like more than that after walking the show. That's about 3% of the booths are alternative protein, but I really felt like there were a lot more alternative protein brands than ever before. 71 booths registered as vegetarian. So if we combine the vegetarian booths and the vegan booths, we're almost at like 950 booths registering as vegan or vegetarian. If you combine vegan, vegetarian, plant-based, all these labels, yes, you're going to get over 1,000 booths at the show this year that are serving people with alternative diets. And then regenerative farming. So booths and brands can now register as a regenerative farming practices or a brand that's using regenerative farming to source their ingredients. 29 booths registered this way. That's 1%. I did hear a lot of buzz about regenerative farming. Quite a few brands that I spoke with showed me their new certification that they are using regenerative farms, and this means a lot to them. So, for instance, I spoke with one of the coconut amino brands that I really love. Let me look up that coconut amino brand just to kind of give you guys some insight. So I spoke with Big Tree Farms. I really like their organic coconut aminos. When I'm preparing any Asian dish and I need a soy alternative, something that's going to give me that umami depth, that richness in flavor in a sauce, I use coconut aminos. It really is just coconut nectar, coconut sugar. But what's interesting is Big Tree Farms got that special regenerative certification and logo, just like you often see with that organic labeling and logo. And that means that the farm where they source their coconut nectars is regenerative, where every time that they tear down a palm tree for their coconut aminos, they're planting a new palm tree. So really interesting. I think you guys are going to start hearing a lot more about that as well. But I'm going to jump in and tell you about the trends that I experienced and I saw at the Expo this year. So when I go to Expo West, and if you decide that this is something that you need to go to for your business next year, I park at the Anaheim Angels Stadium and I take the shuttle over. That's the lay of the land. That's the game plan I do every year. They drop you off at the convention center, and there are multiple buildings to go into to see it all. So you have the main building with the main floor, and then they have a downstairs and an upstairs. So it's really within the main convention center. You have 3 levels filled with booths. Then there is a separate building, and that building has a lot of the completely new brands that are stepping out this year. And you have 2 levels in that building. Then they always have a large white tent, and that also is a showcase for new brands and new products. And then there has been years, specifically 2017, 2018, 2019, where there were so many brands registered for Expo West. They had overflow in the Hilton Hotel that's over there. And they had a level with additional brands there. So you can see there is a lot of places to go, a lot of brands and products to see. If you are going to be heading to Expo West next year for the first time, you absolutely need to plan for 2 days. In the past, when I wasn't as in demand as a chef, didn't have my podcast, didn't have all my projects going on, didn't have Starseed Kitchen. I had more time to enjoy Expo West, and so I would go every day for 4 days. I mean, that's the dream. You really are able to see it all. You're able to network, make connections, because that's what it's really all about. If you're able to dedicate that time, I highly, highly suggest. So let's jump into the product trends that I see from the world's leading natural, organic, and healthy products event. So I predicted, if you follow me on Instagram, these are the trends that I predicted that I would see at Expo West. And then I'll get into what I actually saw. So Expo West 2023, my predictions were more organ meat supplements and snacks, probiotics in everything, new chocolate brands and new types of chocolate desserts, treats, all that good stuff. More chocolate drinks and more ceremonial cacao offerings. So more bags of ceremonial cacao for preparing at home. Matcha, matcha, matcha. Crickets and snacks with cricket powder. More plant-based and pea protein powdered foods. And vitamins in food, like a very big push to put vitamin D and other vitamins in the foods that you already eat, and the new supplement brands. All right, now here is what I saw. Let me go back through those predicted trends, let you know what I ended up seeing in there, and then we'll go into all the other trends that I saw in the food space. Organ meat and supplement snacks, I did not see. Did not see very, very many at all. Still saw your usual suspects for, healthy beef jerky, healthy meat sticks, but nothing pushing organ meats. Unfortunately, I would have liked that a lot. Yes, probiotics in everything, especially drinks, ice cream, additional ones added to plant-based yogurts. That trend is continuing. New chocolate brands, chocolate desserts, chocolate treats, chocolate brownies, absolutely all different versions, vegan, vegetarian, keto, paleo, traditional, but with more health supportive sugars. Even saw a chocolate brand that's using dried whole fruits in order to sweeten their chocolate. So there'll be many, many more chocolate brands hitting your shelves for you guys to check out. Chocolate drinks and ceremonial cacao, was really surprised, did not see that much. Matcha, just saw a little bit. I saw a lot more cold brew coffee being pushed than matcha. Did see a lot of iced tea brands, but more than that, it's the sparkling beverages, and we'll get into that in a minute. Crickets and snacks with cricket powder. Surprisingly, I did not see that being pushed. We see that a lot online in the food space, but not very many brands at the show. More plant-based and pea protein powdered foods. Absolutely. Tons of fake meat companies. Massive amounts of fake meat companies. So really important if you're a vegan or vegetarian and you're choosing to eat alternative plant-based meats, consider them a treat. It's a processed food. Don't make that the cornerstone of your diet, and always read the ingredients. There are some great ones coming out. So there was a brand that was offering tofu, but it was made with fava beans, which is a really great alternative for people that love the texture and taste of tofu, but can't eat soybeans or soy. They can now have a fermented bean made from fava beans. And as we know, the best way to absorb the nutrients from beans is to soak them overnight, prepare them properly using bay leaf and kombu and natural elements in nature that are going to help break down the elements of the beans so then you can more easily absorb it. And anytime you ferment beans or ferment foods, you can better absorb it, better digest it. So there are some great, more health supportive plant-based meats coming to the market, but just as many good versions for you. There's always the alternative. So lesson always is to read your ingredients. And that's something that I do at Expo West. You know, you can walk up to any booth and most people will offer you a sample. I personally don't eat the sample until I ask about the ingredients list or look at the ingredients list. And there are a lot of people at the show like that. So never feel intimidated to ask what's in something first before you just take a big bite. New supplement brands. Definitely saw some new supplement brands. Not as many as I thought, but absolutely there's always new ones coming to market. And if you love gummies, definitely more gummies coming to the market. That's a great bioavailable way to absorb vitamins and minerals. But again, you always have to look and see what those gummies are being made with. You know, making sure that they're made with real natural colors, that you're seeing that they're using essential oils or whole fruit to sweeten it or to provide the flavor, that they're not using natural flavors or artificial flavors. When you see natural flavors or artificial flavors, or they're not actually saying what the flavor source is, then that's MSG. So these are things that we want to avoid when we're trying to take supplements or any products that, you know, are supposed to be serving us, that are supposed to be good for us. And, you know, at any time you can do the balance test. I've talked about this a lot on other podcast episodes, and you can go on my YouTube channel and social media on Instagram and find some videos of me showing you how to do the balance test. It's a great way to decide if a vitamin, supplement, food product is right for you. Your body will naturally tell you if it wants it or not. So let's get into the fun stuff. Let me take you through a lot of the trends that I'm seeing in the organic, natural, healthy products and food industry for 2023. This is it from my point of view. I'm a health supportive chef. You know, this is what I've been studying and living for many years. The CPG food products industry is where I want to be. You know, that's where I want to take Starseed Kitchen. I want us to have brands that you can just walk up on the shelf and buy, more than just our organic spice blends that you can currently get on starseedkitchen.com. There's so much more I want to bring to the market with you guys. So I love this world and I love to see what people are doing, and I want to share with you what you can expect to find on the shelves and enjoy in your life. I saw tons of new ice cream brands. So small batch ice cream companies, gelatos and ice cream, plant-based, milk-based, large variety, just a ton coming to the market that are using better quality ingredients. I still did see a lot of plant-based ice creams made with junk. Ones where you turn over and look at the ingredients list and there's over 30 ingredients listed to make the ice cream. And a lot of them are doing what they call a protein blend base. And that will have GMO corn, soy, and cassava flour, or GMO corn and 2 other items. So again, I can't preach enough. Just look at the ingredients and decide if that's something you want to put inside you and absorb, if it's worth it. But lots of new ice cream brands coming to the market. You're also going to see a lot of ice cream bars. So, you know, little ice cream treats on sticks. Lots of ice cream sandwiches as well. All different sizes, a lot done with gluten-free cookies. So check out your freezer sections in the coming months. You'll probably see that by summertime. More bone broth companies still, but not in the traditional way. So when I buy bone broth, when I need bone broth for making soups and chili and stew, and I can't and don't have anything in my freezer section at my home, meaning I don't have any stocked up in my freezer and my fridge, I go to the freezer aisle and I buy bone broth, because that's the least processed bone broth, is buying it in the freezer aisle. It's not pasteurized. It's flash frozen. It's the most health supportive bone broth you can get outside of cooking it yourself. You want to avoid buying bone broth or broths that are shelf stable, that are in a box on the shelf, because that means it's pasteurized and additives have been added to that broth to allow it to be shelf stable for months or years. I saw a lot of bone broth powders being sold at the show. Bone broth, what they call bombs. So they looked like a bath bomb, but you throw it into your soup or stew or rice to add seasoning. And these are just, unfortunately, they're not bone broth when they're powdered. So I saw a lot of that out there, just to give you a heads up. Lots of seaweed products, again, still coming to the market, which is great. We love seaweed. It's great, natural, true form of iodine for your body to absorb. A lot of, again, seaweed snacks, some that are kind of thicker and more crispy, but a lot made with maltodextrin, fake sugars, fake flavors. So again, read the ingredients. Again, plant-based alternative meats, tons on the market, a lot more mushroom-based. So look for that. And like I mentioned, there is that fava bean-based tofu from one brand that I saw. So some nice alternatives coming to the market, some same processed ones. This was kind of fun. I saw a lot of whipped cream brands. So if you look at your section in your grocery store where you can buy whipped cream, there's usually the same old brand. And then there's the generic brand from the grocery store. So there's some new brands out there that are whipping up the whipped cream aisle, and they're bringing flavored whipped creams and colored whipped creams. I thought that was really creative. Not quite sure what the ingredients list is, but I thought that was really fun. So you guys can check that out. Probiotic sodas, they're still going to be everywhere. So many beverages at this show. I always bring a water bottle to the show, you know, a reusable water bottle in my backpack as I walk the show. It's really not necessary because there's so many beverages there, but you never know. If you're looking for sodas, you know, Expo West is the place to go to drink up. And if you're someone that loves that stuff, there's so many hitting the market. Now, what I specifically saw, not just probiotics added to sodas and sparkling drinks, I specifically saw sparkling waters, massive amounts of brands of sparkling waters. I really liked Aurora Bora, if you're familiar with them, and I also really liked Sound. And both those brands are using real essential oils and botanicals in their sparkling water. So you're getting absolutely no junk. You're getting no coloring added to it. You're getting no natural flavors, which is just another word for MSG. And they taste really delicious. Aurora Bora had very interesting flavor combinations. They were introducing their cardamom and lime. It was actually incredibly delicious. So really impressed with these sparkling drinks that are coming to the market. These are also great if you're planning any events this spring, this summer, and you want to have some alternative beverages for friends that don't drink. These were really, really lovely. I look forward to actually learning more about the sparkling beverage company Sound, because they are very much into sound vibration, as you know I am with the High Vibration Living podcast. So some really nice products coming to market. And with that mention of alternative beverages for friends that don't drink, mocktails were huge at Expo West. Tons and tons of mocktail brands offering beverages that taste just like your alcoholic beverages, but without the alcohol, as well as offering the mocktail liquid drink. So meaning, you know, your Shirley Temple, your margarita, your, you know, any type of beverage that you might want to order with a mix. All those mixes were there as well. Really interesting. That scene is blowing up. And then a lot of people trying to do that in a more health supportive way and doing it with better quality ingredients. Mushrooms were huge as expected at the show. I did enjoy some oyster mushroom jerky. That was really good. A lot of sugar added to it. It was quite sweet. but the taste was delicious and the texture was delicious. Adaptogens are still really big. So I saw a lot of adaptogens in granola bars and in a variety of snacks and food, but definitely a lot of granola bars with adaptogens and better quality of granola bars hitting the market. So if you're familiar with Lara Bar, which usually use dates, dried fruit, and nuts as the base, I saw a lot of bars like that. And then within that, they add adaptogens and mushrooms like reishi in order to make a more health supportive bar. And then they label that bar according to what those adaptogens and mushrooms can support. So is it going to support you being more focused, provide you clarity, help you calm down and relax in the afternoon? Really focused, functional granola bars. Very cool. I did see a lot of granola brands, not as many as I saw back in 2016 or 2017 when I think the granola market kind of peaked. It is kind of an expensive product to produce, as nuts are expensive and most granolas have nuts in it. But still saw a lot of granola brands. Seeing more people that are doing, you could say, soaked and sprouted nuts with quality flavorings. That was really nice. I love a sprouted nut. They're much more light and airy. And when you eat your nuts sprouted, they really do taste better. They make you feel better. I'm a huge fan of that. They're just usually more expensive, but that's because, they take much more time to prepare. And you could do it at home. But when you do it at home, you'll see how much more time it takes to properly prepare. Another thing that I saw everywhere at the show was water in cans and aluminum bottles. Now, let me know if you guys have seen this trend as well. You can comment anywhere that you see the podcast in the show notes or on Instagram or on my YouTube shorts or where I post clips of this podcast on YouTube. Leave me a comment if you have seen the trend of putting water in aluminum cans and aluminum bottles. This was huge at the show. Obviously, my preference is drinking water out of a glass jar or a glass cup or getting it right from a filtration system. But if you're looking at ways to grab some water when you're at a grocery store or you're traveling or you're heading to the beach, these options can be nice. It's really about the quality of the water. So I learned a lot and saw a lot of brands that are using water from high quality natural springs. There was one brand that I was introduced to that serves their waters in cans and aluminum bottles, and they're sourcing from a special spot in Idaho and a spot in Florida. And they did a great job of reminding you of brands that we all see on the shelves, even the ones that we see in the aluminum bottles, that all they're using is tap water. So just a big reminder to people that buy bottled water. A lot of that water is just tap water in your area. So you can take any bottled water and you can look and see where they filled up that water. You can see where they tap it, where they bottle it. And that can give you insight into whether or not they're just using LA County water, San Diego County water, so on and so on. One of the biggest culprits is Dasani. They just use your local tap water in different cities around the country. So they usually tap it locally in each state in the major city and then distribute it from there. So you're just paying for tap water that's been sitting in a plastic container for hours and hours. You're not getting quality filtered water. You're better off just wherever you are, grabbing a cup and taking a sip of tap water. So it's really important if you're grabbing any water this summer to head to the beach, to head to the park, to put in your car on a road trip, that one, ideally you're buying glass. Worst case scenario, you're buying it in cans and aluminum bottles, but you're double checking the source of the water and making sure that it's a brand that's bottling quality filtered spring water and nothing from tap. I saw tons of baking mixes. So if people are wanting to bake more health supportive or gluten-free, they're not somebody that likes to measure out their flour, measure out their baking soda, measure out their baking powder. Tons of brands coming to the market with your at-home baking mixes. I'm talking like Betty Crocker alternatives. A ton hitting the market. I saw a lot more raw milk, raw butter, ghee, and A2 suppliers, A2 milk suppliers at the show, which is really exciting. I'm glad more people are aware of that. And it's really nice when you go to the show, if you're someone that loves raw milk, loves A2 milk, to be able to talk to the people that work on that farm. They are there, and you can ask them about where the farms are, how many farms they work with, how they bring the product to market, how often they resupply. I buy a lot of my raw milk, raw cream, and raw cheese from a company called Raw Milk. And I was able to ask them, when I can't find your product at Mother's Market or Fermentation Farm, what's going on? Is there something happening at the farm? Is there something that I as a consumer need to know about? And he was just nice and just said, there's a lot of demand right now. We just often can't meet the demand, that it's nothing happening on their end, no bad news. It's just a lot of people are buying that product. So that's another reason why I love going to the show. I'm getting to actually meet the people. I went up to Pasture Bird. Pasture Bird is a chicken source that I love. You can go online and order Pasture Bird. They are also offered at the butchery where I purchased a lot of meat and I sell my Starseed Kitchen spices. And Pasture Bird had videos, large screens where you can see how they raise their chickens. So you could see the mobile coops that they use and how they put their chickens out on the land with the cows, with other people on the farm, how they rotate the plots of grass that they live on and where they eat. That was really cool. And I actually got to talk to the man who designed that system. Again, one of the benefits about going to the show, if you're really into health food, you can talk to people and it's a great learning experience and learning opportunity. Same with Manuka honey. Tons of Manuka honey brands, which is really exciting. Manuka honey is medicine, and there's different levels of the medicine. So you'll see on Manuka honey, there's a number, and you can find a Manuka honey that's labeled 85. You can find a Manuka honey labeled 500, and that is the level of health supportive properties that are within the honey. So you can almost look at it as like a probiotic level. I like to buy the Manuka honey that has a 500 or higher rating and just take a little scoop anytime you need a sweet treat or anytime that you're feeling your immune system just needs a little love and support. Manuka honey is great for that. A lot of people love to cook and bake with honey. I do. I do a pistachio crusted baked salmon or baked halibut, and I use a little bit of honey in there to allow the mustard and the pistachios to stick together and go nicely on top of the fish. If I'm cooking in that way with honey, I don't want to use a high quality Manuka. I want to use a local honey, a runny honey, something that's delicious, health supportive, but not something that's super high on the list. So it's great to have a variety of honeys in your home. It's just like maple syrup. You can have a variety of maple syrups, all with different depths of flavor. Alternative pastas. Tons of alternative pastas coming to the market. So if you're someone that loves pasta but is gluten-free, or you're always looking for alternative options with different grains, lentils, chickpeas, you name it, lots coming to the market. That was really exciting. And I learned that a lot of them are made in Italy. So a lot of brands work with this company in southern Italy that produces their alternative pastas. So that was really interesting. Truffles. I chatted with a few truffle vendors, specifically one that's based in Spain, and learned that Spain is actually one of the largest producers of truffles. And what was a really nice reminder is this one brand that I was talking with was looking for a distributor, which is why they came to the show from Spain. And their truffles, they thinly slice them and package them. And then they also make their own, it's not quite an oil, it's more of a paste that you would then mix in with any oil of yours. So it's basically the truffle pureed and concentrated, and then you would just mix that in with your risotto, with your cream sauce, or with any oil you like. So you can get pure truffle without synthetics. And that was a great reminder that most of the truffle oil and truffle products on the market have synthetics in it. So they have fake scents and fake flavors added that are made from synthetic ingredients and chemicals to make you really smell, taste, and feel the traditional white truffle. Also black truffle as well, but white truffle is more of the smell and taste that the majority of people are familiar with. So that was a really nice reminder that we need to check ourselves when it comes to indulging or buying any truffle products, whether that's a truffle oil, a truffle hot sauce, a truffle mayo. It's important to know that they're using the real thing. So you may have heard me mention before, they do the same thing in the orange juice industry, where when you purchase shelf-stable orange juice, like fully shelf-stable orange juice where you have to really break a seal versus purchasing fresh squeezed orange juice or squeezing it yourself. When you buy that shelf-stable orange juice and you open up the container, there is a specific smell for that brand. So if you were to buy a bunch of shelf-stable brands in those big jugs, they kind of all look the same, they all sit on the shelf the same, you open them all up, they're all going to smell differently because each one of them has a proprietary fresh orange scent that they've had chemists create for their brand. So when you open it, it smells like fresh squeezed orange juice to you. Even though it's obviously not fresh squeezed orange juice, it was squeezed months ago and has a variety of additives in it, so it stays shelf stable. So the same thing happens in the truffle industry. The same thing happens in tons of different food product industries. So this is why we have to read our ingredients, but you have to get to know the brand because not everything is labeled. Just like on all those orange juice brands, the scents aren't labeled. And if you're wondering where I got this information from, I got this information when I was in culinary school at the Natural Gourmet Institute. And I was talking with one of the chefs in the program that I learned from. And I was asking him about the different types of jobs that people go into after they finish culinary school at our school. And has there ever been a student that he connected with that kind of went the opposite direction, took all this health supportive information and then went and did something completely alternative in the food industry that wasn't health supportive? And he shared with me one of his students who had been a great chef, a great student, and she went and worked for one of those orange juice companies and went the chemistry route and started working on creating those scents that go into orange juice brands. And that's how he learned about it. So, there's so much more in our food than we know. That's why it's always best, and that's why I always say, the healthiest meal you can make is the one you make at home with the fresh, raw ingredients that you prepare. But we all don't have the time and the lifestyle these days to make all of our meals from scratch every day and know the true source of everything we're eating and purchasing. So it's great that there are so many beautiful brands out there trying to make it easier for you to live a health supportive life. But it's still important to get to know those brands and, of course, continue to buy and support the ones that you see are doing the real thing. One other thing to touch on of trends that I saw, I'll wrap this up. last but not least, CBD in beverages. Not as much as last year or the year before, but still seeing CBD products and CBD added to beverages. Another thing that often happens at Expo West, that's where brands will introduce new packaging, new color schemes, new branding. Sometimes they'll rename their products as well. And I definitely saw that with some brands. If you guys are familiar with Evolved Chocolate, I've liked Evolved Chocolate for many years. They did a whole new packaging rebrand. They've been talking a lot about that on their Instagram. They wiped their Instagram page months ago, got rid of all their old packaging, all their old videos, and have a new whole look. They were there. It was fun checking them out. And I would say that's a wrap on the trends that I saw. I think you guys, this will make a lot more sense when you visit Whole Foods, Erewhon, Mother's Market, even Kroger and different grocery stores across the nation are adding more health supportive food and beverages into their lineup. I would love to know your favorite health food store in your local neighborhood. So if you're listening to the show, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. Just scroll to the bottom, click 5 stars, and then you can rate and review the podcast. You can mention that you listen to this podcast and let me know where you shop for your healthy groceries, or comment on any of my YouTube shorts, YouTube videos, or my Instagram posts. I'd love to know where you guys are shopping and what you guys are loving. And if you see these trends in stores this year, tag me and let me know. So if you are planning after listening to this to go to Expo West in 2024, first and foremost, reach out, let me know. I'd love to meet up in real life. And here are some tips on how to prepare, what to wear, what to bring that day, what you should have on you. I've been doing this since 2016. I consider myself like an Expo West and Convention Center pro. So here's what I do. Obviously, have a super healthy breakfast in the morning. I wear a backpack. It really, really helps. I do bring a water bottle, chapstick, just a few basic things. I keep that backpack light so I can throw the heavy things that I get gifted throughout the day in the backpack. You want to bring your lunch. So whenever you go to a convention, whenever you go to something like Expo West, yes, there'll be some food trucks, there'll be some vendors where you can get something to eat, but the lines are going to be so long, and you're not there to wait in line. You're there to experience, connect with brands, meet like-minded people, see the products, learn, and who wants to wait in line? So I always pack a healthy lunch. I highly suggest packing yourself a salad, a wrap. It's really helpful. Make sure you wear tennis shoes. Make sure you wear a comfortable outfit. You'll definitely see lots of women walking around in heels. Maybe they're staying at the hotel right next door, but you want to be comfortable. So wear a pair of tennis shoes that you can stand in for 8 hours. Get there early. I always think it's easier to get there before the show starts. Park, get your badge, check in. Ultimately, by the time your shuttle gets you to the premise, the show will be open. So I always suggest getting there early. And plan to be there all day. Like, dedicate the day to the expo. Don't try to pack in plans for the evening. Allow yourself time to experience. Don't be in a rush. Know your purpose for being there. So know that you're there just to learn, just to see what's new in the food industry, to be inspired, to connect with brands, to learn about the brands that you already love. Know your purpose for being there. If you can, plan for 2 days. When I can go 2 or 3 days, that's when I get the most out of the experience. That's when I learn the most. That's when I have the best time. So try to plan for 2 days of attending the show. Be flexible. Don't be on a timeline. Have fun and be nice. And then before you go to the show, always check the schedule. Make sure you have or check a map and know the layout of the show. And look up if there's any special events that are happening, any lectures that you want to attend, and any particular booths you want to make sure to stop at. So that is my recap of Expo West, the Natural Products Food Expo, the world's leading natural, organic, and healthy products event in the U.S. They do have an East Coast Expo. It's in the fall. It's in Baltimore. It isn't as big as this beautiful event in Anaheim, but if that's something that interests you, you can take a look and check out the Baltimore Expo called Expo East, and that is in the fall. So I hope you guys enjoyed me filling you in on the new food trends for 2023. And in the meantime, let me just fill you in on some other new things that are going on with me and with Starseed Kitchen. March is the last month of my In Good Company partnership. So In Good Company, if you aren't familiar, In Good Company is based in Los Angeles, and they partner with chefs and Michelin-starred restaurants in Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego County. And they allow you, the consumer, to enjoy these incredibly chef-crafted meals at home in reusable containers. And I partnered with them to bring my lentil and rice super health supportive kitchery to more people. And so you can enjoy my kitchery with Starseed Kitchen 11 Magic Herbs and Spices roasted salmon on top, or with the roasted carrots on top. And you can order my kitchery for a limited time from In Good Company this month, along with 9 other female chefs. So they worked with an organization called Regarding Her Food. Regarding Her Food is a nonprofit to support female chefs in the industry and just provide a resource for female chefs who just want to network, grow their business, learn how to grow their business, learn how to start a business. And so In Good Company, Regarding Her, created a menu of 10 female chefs for the month of March. On the In Good Company menu are these 10 dishes from female chefs, and I am incredibly honored that I'm one of them with Starseed Kitchen. So if you are in Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego, you can get these meals delivered to you. They come flash frozen, and you can reheat them at any time. And they're in reusable stainless steel containers, because this is all about lowering the footprint of delivery food services. You can order using the code Starseed Kitchen, all caps, for 15% off your order. I'll have that in the show notes for you. So visit ingoodcompany.com. You'll find it as eatigc.com, and you can order my kitchery. You can order some incredible dishes, including a beautiful Moroccan short rib by Chef Kat Turner, who I previously had here on the High Vibration Living podcast. This is a really neat way for you just to enjoy delicious meals at home. And I hope you do take advantage of it if you're in the Southern California area. Some other things that I have going on is posting a ton of videos, cooking videos, little tutorials, day in the life on YouTube and YouTube Shorts. So if you do check out YouTube frequently, check out my page, Whitney Aronoff, and you'll see a bunch of good cooking videos and tutorials. And you'll also find little clips from the podcast that I just don't post anywhere else. And of course, Starseed Kitchen Spice, we have 11 magic herbs and spices, and we have our anti-inflammatory turmeric adobo, always available on starseedkitchen.com. And if you are in Southern California, You can shop at The Butchery in Newport Coast and Costa Mesa. You can also swing by Juxtaposition, the most incredible home store in Southern California. Shop there in Newport Beach, and then visit the Salt Horse when you are in Laguna Beach, another lovely farm-to-table shop. And they also carry our Starseed spices. And definitely go and visit those shops, pick up a jar, cook yourself a delicious meal at home, and let me know how you enjoy it. You know, I really appreciate you guys that have tuned into today's podcast. Just as a reminder, you can listen to the podcast, a new episode every Tuesday. So if you don't want to miss an episode, be sure to just subscribe, whether you listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast. Be sure to click that subscribe button. Leave a 5-star rating and review. That just helps more people find this podcast. And it's a great way to support a podcast because what we do is free. We don't charge you anything for this information. So we really appreciate it if you can just support us back with a review and a rating. And not only do we put out a new episode every Tuesday, but I also put out a new recipe on starseedkitchen.com. So if you're looking for the delicious, health supportive recipes that I prepare for my personal chef clients, you can get a new recipe every Tuesday on starseedkitchen.com. So that is all I have for now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I look forward to connecting with you again next week. Cheers.